The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johns.
Hello and thanks for joining us for Simply Southern. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. Sydney Phelps of Bonnie Plants joins us in the studio once again to answer gardening questions from some of our viewers.
Without question, farming is a dangerous job. Today on Simply Southern, you'll see how one organization is aiming to make it a bit safer.
We thought the farmers, it would be good for them to see it, but we needed to find rescue here too, because those are the guys who are going to be handling the situation, getting whoever's the victim out.
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. I promise, we're not in Kansas, just visiting Geneva County and Green Acres Buffalo Farm.
So it was a way for me to bring something that we don't have yet, and that newer addition is what really drives me. That's what drives me a lot.
But when we return, we're talking turkey as we visit one of our state's best-known poultry operations.
What sustains us? Food? Family? Faith. Alabama farmers live those things every day. They conserve our resources, clothe our families, and fill our tables. They cultivate jobs for our communities and values for our future. Farmers grow it all right here in Alabama.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
Turkey is an American culinary mainstay, especially around the holidays when frozen birds fill up supermarket freezers. But for over half a century, Alabamians have increasingly bypassed the butterballs for a more local favorite. Thanksgiving is an occasion to gather with friends and family to reflect on our blessings. It's a time of goodwill, which is a blessing in itself for poor old Clyde here, who is about to benefit from a nearly 70-year-old Alabama tradition.
These are a couple of high-stepping turkeys, and you know what to say about a high-stepper. No step too high for a high-stepper. So Clyde and Henrietta, by the power vested in me, I hereby pardon you from the succulent trappings of a Thanksgiving dinner.
Back in 1949, when Big Jim Folsom first had the notion to extend leniency to one of these foul-feathered miscreants, he turned to an Alabama poultry operation that has since grown into a tradition in itself.
The farm started with my grandparents. When they married, my granddaddy's aunt, Mamie Bates, gave them turkey eggs for their wedding present. My grandmother raised the turkeys, and at the holidays, she would sell them to local people.
Since 1923, the Bates family has raised some of the finest turkey you'll find at their farm near Fort Deposit. As you can tell, these birds don't spend too much time sitting around the house, which the owners say makes for a tastier end result.
To me, it's a better bird, better tasting bird. I mean, it's stress-free, and I don't know, that makes for a better product.
We've done free range since I was a little girl. I mean, I can never remember us raising the turkeys completely in a house. They've always been in the pecan orchards.
Not surprisingly, turkey is the star of the show at Greenville's Bates House of Turkey. Opened in 1970 as a way to promote the farm's products, the restaurant has become a popular stop for beach-bound travelers on I-65.
That's one reason we're still here, is because of the traffic on that highway, people going on vacation. I heard a couple of people, more than once now, come up and they'll be talking to their children. And my mom and dad brought us here when we were growing up, when we were going to the beach.
Whether you're looking for a top-notch turkey sandwich or a plate with all the fixings, come early, folks. This cozy little restaurant can fill up in a hurry.
We have all the sandwiches and, of course, the traditional roast turkey dinner with dressing and gravy and vegetables. We make casseroles out of turkey meat, white bean turkey chili, turkey gumbo.
As you can imagine, Bates House of Turkey is a must-stop around, or in some cases, well before Thanksgiving.
Actually, our busy season starts the first spring break in March. We have so many people that are traveling through, and they're not going to be back through here, so they want to pick up their Thanksgiving items to take home.
Keeping Alabama stocked with turkey, pardoned or otherwise, is a point of pride for the Bates family. For many, the Bates label has become synonymous with Thanksgiving, which suits this family farm just fine. After nearly a century in business, they have a lot to be thankful for.
A lot rides on me and my dad and my cousins and everybody involved with it, and don't want to see something that's been going since 1923 just fall apart.
It's very humbling. I have grandchildren that are working in the business, and so we're talking about 5 generations, so that's really special to be able to take this that my mother and daddy nurtured and to see it go on.
In addition to the Greenville store, you can find Bates Turkey at select Piggly Wiggly locations in Birmingham, Mosley's Meat Market in the Mobile area, and the State Farmers Market in Montgomery.
Of course, you can also buy from the comfort of your own home by visiting the farm's website at batesturkey.com.
And Mary, while we're on the subject of turkeys and Thanksgiving, I'm so glad I'm not a turkey.
Well, some people might say that that's debatable, Jim. Now, when Simply Southern continues, meet a Geneva County teenager who's carving out his own niche in agriculture by creating cravings for bison.
Soybean is a very versatile product. We make crayons out of it.
A lot of the combines you see rolling through the fields have a lot of plastic side panels that are made from a soy product.
The soybeans that we grow on our farm mostly goes into chicken feed.
Soybean production in Alabama employs over 10,000 people.
We grow some of the best soybeans in the world.
We go the extra mile to make sure when our name is stamped on it, we know it's the best product we can produce.
You could see it before anyone else. Your future, your own place, independence. It's not perfect, but you love it. A place to grow, to be yourself.
All for a better life.
Dream big. Alpha Insurance.
All for a better life.
Protect your dream with Alpha's new business owner policies.
Seriously?
Have some respect. Pick it up, man.
Did you just litter?
Take pride in your school. Pick it up, man.
Clean it up, dude.
Besides keeping your campus clean, adopt a mile with Roadside Cleanup. Attend the next Coastal Cleanup Day or pitch in on the annual Spring Cleanup campaign. Make a difference by picking up litter and...
Don't drop it on Alabama!
A farmer has to live on faith. We do all we can do, but we can only control so much.
Alabama is the second largest poultry growing state in the nation, so we're trying our best to grow all the corn we can for that.
What we produce not only feeds and clothes all of the United States, but about half of what we make goes on to the world market.
We've been able to improve yields, have some things that can help us produce a better crop. I'm proud of the product we make and proud that I can say I'm an Alabama farmer.
In the 1960s, Green Acres was the place to be, at least for television actors Eddie Albert and Ava Gabor. Today, Green Acres is the place to be for bison meat, at least if you're anywhere near Geneva County. Teenager Weston Spivey is in charge of the bison portion of his family's farm, from animal care and marketing the meat to processing and delivering orders. And he'd tell you, farm living is the life for him. While most high schoolers spend their senior years taking trips and worrying over prom plans, Weston Spivey spent his free hours on the family farm raising buffalo.
My granddad is an independent businessman, and we got out and kind of got to see what the market was doing. He's always had unique animals around the farm, from peacocks, rare chickens, all the way to, you name it, rare cattle. And he bought some buffalo one day, and we seen what the meat market was doing with it, so we started wholesaling to restaurants, and it took off. We have some great customers. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So it was the right thing to do and at the right time.
Now all of 19 years old, Weston is balancing farm life with a couple other jobs and his coursework studying business at Wallace Community College.
I think, the best time to make money or to get out and get involved in something is while you're young and you have the energy. So don't wait until it's too late.
Weston's using all that youthful energy to not only raise buffalo, but to market and deliver buffalo meat to restaurants across South Alabama.
When I found out he had, I think it was 100, 150 head of buffalo in Slocum, I couldn't believe it. And when I found out more about him and the fact that he was a senior in high school and had built this great business, we were even more impressed.
At Todd Farms in Headland, you can order a Green Acres buffalo burger in the restaurant or purchase frozen buffalo meat from the farm store.
We make sure we've got a lot of signage, we have it on our tables, and people are curious. And it's not a very expensive risk to take, and so people will try it and then they're hooked. It's a very safe meat, it's very low fat, it's also cholesterol free, and then the taste is just incredible. I'd heard a lot of people say, well, it tastes like beef, you won't know the difference. But you do, it's a different texture, the taste is different, but it's so good.
Even state lines don't stand in Weston's way of expanding his business. Green Acres also sells to restaurants in Florida, including Skins and Bubba Obert Family Restaurant in Chipley, which is where I finally got to sink my teeth into one of these delicious burgers.
We do a 6-ounce burger, and if you eat 6 ounces of bison, it's a lot of protein. There's hardly no fat in a bison burger, so I haven't found anybody that's not full when they leave here. They love it. The saddest day people have is when we run out, when we literally have cooked all we've got and we have to wait for him to come the next day because I forget to tell him that, hey, I'm out, I need some tomorrow.
When it comes to raising quality buffalo meat for restaurants and customers, Weston says the two most important things are fencing and feed.
Our fencing's about the same size as a normal cattleman's fence, but as far as just the upkeep of having more power on that, we've got to. Their skin's a lot thicker and they're a lot more aggressive. You've got to be set up for them. Your voltage has to be very high. You've got to feed them a lot. They're 2 and 3 times bigger than a cow. I've had bulls weigh up to 3,500 pounds. So they eat a lot of feed and they're very time demanding.
No matter how time demanding these animals may be, Weston is determined to keep providing quality buffalo meat to his customers. And he doesn't see himself yearning for any penthouse views on Park Avenue anytime soon.
If you've grown up on a farm, you have traditional values that are set in you that you wouldn't trade for anything. It teaches you a lot about hard work, and making a profit on a farm is a lot harder than people think it is. So when you do make a profit on the farm, it means something. This was a chance to bring a new product to the market our area's never seen before. It's very saturated out in Texas all the way up to Nevada. So it was a way for me to bring something that we don't have yet. And that newer addition is what really drives me. That's what drives me a lot.
While millions of bison roamed the U.S. in prehistoric times, their numbers dwindled to less than 1,000 by the late 1800s. But through conservation efforts and farming, there are now about 500,000 bison in the U.S., including the 150 at Green Acres Farm. If you'd like to find out more about the Geneva County operation, just search for Green Acres Buffalo Farm on Facebook. Well, so far in this week's show, we've brought you bison and talked about turkey. Coming up next, we're spotlighting safety in one of the most dangerous places on a farm.
One out of 4 Alabama residents have benefited from the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. Last year, Master Gardener Managed Gardens donated $150,000 worth of fruits and vegetables to food banks, and over 25,000 young people developed math, science, technology, and engineering skills through 4-H. Now what we want to know is, how can we help you?
The versatile peanut, meat of the earth, friend of the soil, tasty, nutritious, packed with protein. And Alabama peanut farmers nourish some very special things: families, communities, and Alabama's economy. Peanuts. Good for you, good for Alabama.
And now, an Alabama tourism spotlight from Sweet Home, Alabama. In 1825, the city of Tuscaloosa was chosen as the state capital. It served as the capital until 1846, when it was moved to Montgomery. In 1923, a tragic fire burned the old Capitol building, which had become home for Alabama Central Female College. Partial columns, a portion of the entrance, and remnants of the stone wall remain to this day. Progress continued to develop as the University of Alabama grew around the site, but it still holds fascination for visitors to the area. Located at the corner of University Boulevard and 28th Avenue, be sure to take a stroll back in time and visit this historic site. For your next adventure, go online to alabama.travel.
We've been raising fish for 33 years. Our farm and the catfish farms in Hale County, in this area, have had a huge impact on the labor, offering jobs. It's been a big economic boom for West Alabama. Our family is fully invested in U.S. farm-raised catfish.
Over the past 50 years, there have been more than 800 reports of people being trapped inside grain bins. But experts believe the number is actually much higher because incidents where the victim successfully escapes are usually not reported.
Alabama Farmers Cooperative is hoping to reduce the number of grain bin entrapments while increasing the number of successful escapes by showing first responders the proper way to remove a trapped victim. Kevin Worthington has more from AFC headquarters in Decatur.
You typically don't expect to find first responders attending a meeting of farmers, but this is a different kind of meeting.
We try to do something a little different this year. We always get our producers in, try to get them in one building, get them together, do a market update, things like that. We decided to do a grain bin rescue demo this year, something a little different.
Across Alabama, more and more of these type bins are being constructed for crops like corn, wheat, and soybeans as farmers await favorable economic conditions to market their grains. Occasionally, it becomes necessary to go inside these containers. And in just moments, a person can find themselves sinking in grain almost like quicksand.
We thought the farmers, it would be good for them to see it, but we needed to fire and rescue here too, because those are the guys who are going to be handling the situation, getting whoever's the victim out. So we wanted to have both of them here, one so the farmers can see it, and two so the guys who are actually hands-on in the situation can learn and be properly trained in doing it.
The Mississippi Farm Bureau has offered this program to first responders in their state and adjoining states for about 6 years. They say there's a very specific set of steps to follow when freeing someone from a grain bin entrapment, but it's important to remember the most basic rule, regardless of the type of rescue.
Safety first. When they get out there, think about your safety before you enter that bin. You know, when you go in there, you go in safe, you take care of the individual in there, and then everybody goes on.
Most of these first responders have never even heard of a grain entrapment, much less answered a call for a rescue. But when presented with the scenario, they were surprised at the difficulty.
The most part was how easy the grain, when you try to walk on it, you just sink up real quick. You thought it'd have some support, but it wasn't. There was a lot of ropes involved and different rescue equipment.
They start asking questions. Hey, we need this type of equipment. So they start working with it, getting the numbers, where they can get this stuff. Front end loaders, that type stuff. County people, 24 hours a day, because you never know when you're going to get that call. So that kind of makes them prepares them for this situation.
While the rescue training is aimed at first responders, organizers say the farmers at this meeting also learned some valuable information.
One thing that they were excited about was to bring their farm hands on, who are actually the guys getting in the grain bin, so they can see what to do in this situation. I think they were more excited about getting their guys, their farm hands here more than they were to see it. That way the guys who are really hands-on in these bins will see what to do in a situation like this.
Safety experts admit that grain bin entrapments are rare, but that doesn't mean this training's not important.
One person's all it takes. It's hard to say he's not worth this expense. You know, we're giving them, now this will relay over into other areas too. Trench rescue, that other stuff that comes up. So they use this technique on other type rescues that are out there. That's what I was talking to some of the firefighters about, was how they could use this in other programs. So it's not just this program. Who knows? It may pertain to some of your loved ones too.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
What we eat, what we wear. It all starts somewhere. And if it's good, it usually starts with a farmer. And that somewhere is right here in Alabama. In a field, in a barn, on a tractor. Right now, there's a farmer starting something good for all of us. And it all starts right here in Alabama.
FFA makes a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education.
We're strengthening American agriculture and providing our members with the skills needed to build healthy local communities, a strong nation, and a sustainable world.
We are the next generation of agriculture.
It's our turn now.
Let's show the world what we can achieve together.
We are FFA.
For more Simply Southern, be sure to follow us on social media. And while you're online, visit our website, simplysouthern.tv.net. Simply Southern will continue in a moment.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Welcome back to Simply Southern, and today Sydney Phelps from Bonnie Plants is in the studio and he's answering your gardening questions. These were submitted by some of our Facebook followers. So Sydney, thanks so much for being with us.
Good to be in the studio. Good to see you, Sid.
All right, the first one we have for you is from James Oscar Yeaman. And his question is, what is the minimum amount of sunshine necessary for tomatoes to produce fruit?
Okay, well, when you're dealing with tomatoes, you need a minimum of 6 hours. They want 6+. But as far as the minimum requirements, you got to have at least 6 hours. So one of the things we always talk about when you're planting a garden or if you're using containers, you want to check the sunlight. Afternoon sunlight is always the best. That's when you're going to get more time, especially in the growing season. As the days are longer, it gives the plants more opportunity to get more sunlight. So if you're limited to space or you're dealing with a balcony, sometimes it's not going to work. But if you can get 8 hours of sunlight on a tomato plant, you're going to get a really good production. You're going to see a very prolific plant. Sunlight is the key to the plants producing and then setting the blooms and getting the tomatoes to be vibrant. So 6 hours to answer his question though, is the minimum, but you really want to push towards 8 to have a successful garden.
Sid, we've got a question from Debbie Burrows. What are the best vegetables to grow in the winter in South Alabama?
Okay. Well, South Alabama, everybody tends to go to the greens. So you're looking at collards, cabbage, turnips, anything that you can put in. Rutabagas are good. All of your lettuces, arugulas, spinach, they'll take the cold well. If you want to go with peppers and tomatoes, you can grow them in the fall, but you have to get them in early. You're looking at a 65-day to harvest, so you want to backdate. So for us, in a normal weather climate, we're going to get the first frost. It's somewhere in the end of October, so we have to watch that. So basically we're going to back up 65 days from there. So you're looking at mid-August to late August to planting in any tomatoes or peppers. But those will go good. Herbs are great year-round. So if you want to do an herb raised bed, your more hardy herbs for the colder months are going to be rosemary, lavender, the parsleys, oreganos, thymes. They'll take the cold weather, so you don't have as much of an issue there. But for the most part, everybody here traditionally, when they're growing a fall garden, stays in that realm of collards, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. Cabbage does a lot better in the fall than it does in the spring for us here, because you get more climate consistency. So that's the biggest thing you want to watch as far as that goes. You can do some of the winter squash, so like your butternut squash, those spaghetti squash will produce in the winter. They're more of that winter style melon. You see those in the supermarkets in the same time, especially here in Alabama specifically. As you see the trends change in the produce market, that's an eye on what you can expect as far as that goes from getting the right product. So look at that and get an idea, but you can also, like I said, go to the website and you can see different options of what's available in the areas across the country.
We always learn something when Sydney joins us, don't we? Thank you very much for being in the studio. And the people who submitted these questions on Facebook, they're going to get some nice little prizes. So you'll get the bird feeder, and then you'll also get the garden bag with the tools. And if you have a question for Sydney, you can drop him a line at simplysouthern@alafarm.com. And if he answers it on the air, you'll also get those nice gifts.
Thanks for watching today, folks, but that brings us to the end of another episode of Simply Southern. Next week, I'll show you how a Montgomery man is finding works of art in the middle of solid rock.
And we'll meet a retired Marine who creates special memorials to service members who paid the ultimate sacrifice in our country's war on terror. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. We'll see you again next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.